Welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast, and in this episode we're reviewing episode 8 of Silo, now streaming on Apple TV Plus. We have, as I always say, plenty of thoughts to say about it. We have plenty of thoughts to say about everything. Guys, if you like this video, stick around. We have a lot of stuff we want to break down, and we also maybe have some spoilers on the novel series. Without further ado, Dylan, please, why don't we get started with your thoughts?
Yeah, it feels like the conclusion is wrapping up. It feels like this was a more action-oriented episode, and Juliette, well, she's already kind of uncovered the truth now, right? She found out who was the true villain of the silo, and spoilers ahead, guys, it was the mayor. He's been behind everything, and she tried to arrest Sims, but he got out. And I like this episode too because she was like having a cool moment with her father where they kind of made up, and they show a lot of like backstory, like what happened with the mom. And it was kind of poetic because it started off in this cornfield and then it ended up as an adult she ends up back in this cornfield somehow. And yeah, she's uncovering the truth, and unfortunately she's the next target of judicial, right? Because as they said, she's the biggest threat they've had in 140 years because they're trying to silence these people that are too outspoken, right? But what were your thoughts on this episode?
Yeah, I thought this episode was it was great. One of my favorites, honestly. I've been waiting to see that relationship between the father and Juliette, so I'm glad to finally see it. And it sucks because it was like a nice bridge between these two. It felt like a lot of healing could happen, but unfortunately now there's high stakes, and Robert Sims is trying to come after her, so she always has to be on the go. So I hope that the father will be okay later on. I'm a little worried about him. So I thought that they were going to assassinate him too later on, and when they were like meeting up, I thought that they were going to send somebody. The maintenance guy.
I swear, they're gonna do something like he has to make a choice and he has to sacrifice her or himself to save her or something. I bet you they're gonna do something like that.
Oh my gosh,
it's so sad.
Well, yeah. This episode was really on the go too. I kind of see that from a mile away though, that Bernard was going to be a bad guy. Remember, I think I said something like that a while ago, like a prediction in the other episode. So it's kind of finally everything comes full circle now. I said about that last week. I said that this is going to be the episode of traveling. Like it'll be the episode where like a lot of things are setting up episode 9. And finally we're going to get to that point where everything comes to a head. Let me also comment on Common, because I thought like the way how he plays Robert Sims is so cool. I just love his character, especially in a jail scene. He has so much power even if he's captured. But what else thoughts do you have?
Well, Billings is the most bipolar motherfucker I've ever seen. He's so weird. He's like, 1 second he's like helping Juliette, right? Because he was like, oh well, this search is unwarranted. They're breaking rules, right? And then the next moment, he's literally watching judicial arrest her and do all this like shady shit. And he's like, but it's for the pact, right? I need to enforce the law. I'm like, dude, you can clearly see they're doing some shady shit. And you want to like help them. It's like he's so I mean this episode was a little bit better because he had that conversation with his wife where I think she was shit talking on Juliette and he was kind of like defending her, but then like he does a complete 180 at the end of the episode. I'm like, dude, if you're really for this law, you should be helping the people, not the law, right? If that makes sense. Maybe
he just feels like he's kind of nerdy, but he remains with the law, like he really believes in that. But I understand because it is a tricky situation. You're going against everything that you believe in, and there's something bigger right in front of you, so it must be really stressful. And plus he seems to have an issue, right? So I wonder if he thinks maybe he's inadequate if something were to happen. So it's the first time really that something like this occurred where it's like, oh shit. And especially that now she's a fugitive. Later on we see an episode she escaped, so everyone's on high tension alert, and maybe this can resemble what had occurred 300 years ago.
Yeah, perhaps. It feels like they're laying the groundwork for another rebellion, right? Because at the end we saw I forgot her name, the lady in mechanical, or Parker,
yes.
is that her name? Yeah, so
Walker.
she was talking, or Walker, I'm sorry. She was talking with the other girl, and it seems like perhaps maybe they're planning like a rescue or something, or maybe a big protest, right? Because I had to imagine like how many... Well, no, I'm thinking about like imagine how many soldiers do they really have in the silo, right, to enforce it? Mm-hmm. They have to be like short staffed, because if they didn't even have enough like sheriffs or policemen, they can't have enough, judicial soldiers to stop everybody, right?
I think they do. I think there's a lot of people that's hiding. I think.
Oh, and also they have guns too, but we haven't really seen guns. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if it's like it's fake.
Fake guns.
Maybe they're just sly. No, like there's no guns at all. Because they keep saying they have guns, but I haven't seen one yet. So it's like the rocket from Hello Tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, that's
a figment of your imagination.
That's actually funny that you brought up Hello Tomorrow, because this show kind of reminds me of like some ideological things going on. It kind of matches, but yeah, no, I think they probably have guns. They're gonna whip it out in the right time. They don't want everybody to see, because I think that changes everything. Because when you have something like that, a weapon like that, in a world where no one has ever seen something like that and they don't know how it functions, I mean, that changes everything. And if you drop it, if one of those judicial people drop it, then someone there in maintenance or whatever will be the king of that section, really.
Right.
So I think that's why they have to be really careful with it. The episode overall was pretty good, I'd say. It felt fast-paced. I actually felt really short just because there was so much that had occurred. Again, it's kind of like one of those episodes that could build up. It
was pretty fast paced. I feel like went by quickly, but we got a lot in it. I also did kind of like she went to see the guy who was like looking at the stars, and she asked him for his help with the hard drive. I think he's gonna come around eventually. I think he was just kind of terrified that this was kind of thrown in on him. But I just like that scene where like she broke the mirror and then showed him the camera, because in a way it was kind of poetic. It was like she's breaking the illusion of freedom in a way. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, overall a pretty good episode for me. And then we only have 2 episodes left in this series. So yeah, I think we're gonna, like I said, I think the end will probably be like this big rebellion, or she's gonna start something, right? But probably they'll have to find a way to rescue her in the next episode. But for me, this probably gets a 8 out of 10. How would you rate it?
I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it a lot. It was a really fun episode. And the acting is phenomenal on this show as well. There's high tension, and I think it's going to lead to something a lot more bigger. Of course it will. Time will tell. I can't wait to review episode 9. But okay, if that's our review, if you say so, Dylan, why don't you take us away?
Well, I do say so. But guys, thank you for sticking around for this episode review of Silo, episode 8. Check out our other Silo reviews. We have 2 more left for the series, and then we're done. We're also covering The Idol on Max. Check it out. We do plenty of reviews, plenty of content for you guys. We're so busy, but stick with us and let us know how we're doing. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us, guys.
See you guys.